Hi, and welcome back to this channel, Hunter UK. In the last video, I stated that I'd made some unlisted videos and that I decided to make a couple of them go public. Well, I've done one video some time ago and it lasted around about an hour, and it was covering two things. One was the missing time of Stephen Paddock on the 25th of September, and the second point was basically a question. Was Stephen Paddock being monitored? I've decided to redo this whole video and divide it into two videos. So this part is the missing time of Stephen Paddock. As we go through this video, some people may feel that this is trivial and irrelevant. However, it is something that makes me feel very uncomfortable and is a loose end. Now maybe you can tie that loose end and ease my feelings. Now some of you may remember a video that I worked on with Mr. Burgundy a couple of months ago, and he done a great job, but I needed to follow up that video. Now, for the ones who did not watch it, I will start with this. So here we have Stephen Paddock at the VIP check-in desk at 14:53. Now straight away, this does not align to the FIT report, whereby they said he had registered at 15:33. This is a clear difference of 40 minutes. Now you have to remember, these pictures was released by MGM, not the LVMPD. Now, I would imagine they were none too happy with the MGM because they had gone on their own by releasing these pictures and videos. Anyway, the FIT report got the time wrong. Is it a big thing? Probably not. Anyway, the next picture released by the MGM, you can see Stephen Paddock walking towards the lift at casino level. You can see the time is 15:38. Now, the first problem we had is the timestamp. Here you can see EST. We guessed that this stood for estimated. Therefore, this implies that someone has laid this over the top and cut the bottom off. Now, why? I don't know. This is Stephen Paddock now entering the lift. Again, it has EST, estimated time. Now, here is him walking towards the lift. They could have easily done this camera angle where you can see clearly at the bottom where it is properly time-stamped. This one really gets me. This is him getting in the lift, and again you can see estimated at 15:38. However, this is Paddock getting into the lift, and you can see the timestamp clearly at the bottom, although they still have tried to cover up the date. Believe you me, that is 30th of the 9th. So, I had to go back to see if we could validate this time. Now, this is some 45 minutes after he registered at the VIP check-in. Now, it's obvious he didn't take all that time to reach to the elevator. Now, when we look at the FIT report, it clearly states that Stephen Paddock ate sushi, but they do not give a time. MGM again released a video showing Stephen Paddock eating sushi, but there is no timestamp. So it is easy to assume that after Stephen Paddock registered, he then went to the sushi bar. You can call up the sushi bar video and watch Stephen Paddock, and it takes about 34 minutes. I'll leave the link in the description below. Now in that video, you can see a TV screen, and there is a basketball player being interviewed on there. Now I'm not sure if LVSA or even indeed Mr. Burgundy will comment below, but I know that attempts had been made by them to pin down the time, but it has been so difficult. So okay, let's stick to the theory that Stephen Paddock went to the VIP check-in, he then left for the sushi straight after, and then he walked to the lift. Again, this is probably nothing, but it was something that I noticed. At the check-in desk, you can see clearly what seems like a laptop bag, and yet when he left the sushi bar, he never had the bag with him. The assumption has to be that he left it at reception to go to the sushi bar, and then he picked it up after the sushi. Personally, it is not something that I would have done, which was to leave my laptop at the reception while I went in at sushi. Again, he'd have to go back. I said it's probably nothing, but I did notice that. Now the time fits. only just basing upon the assumption he left the VIP counter at 14:58 and 34 minutes at the Sushi. So we now got Paddock in the lift at 15:38, of which we all can agree. So now we see Stephen Paddock in the lift at casino level indicated by the letter C. This is 15:38, as I've said. Now we are given a fact that Stephen Paddock swiped his door at 17:02. So our question was, where did he go for 1 hour and 24 minutes? Now there is a coincidence, and I want you to remember that. 1 hour and 24 minutes. It is a coincidence, but I found it quite ironic. It will come up later on. Now, there are no pictures or cam footage showing where Stephen Paddock got out of the lift. And I'll tell you guys, that is so frustrating. You see him going in, but you don't see him coming out. Now, this is where Mr. Burgundy's video stopped. We did ask, could Stephen Paddock be going to another floor? Now, I decided to go back to the lock interrogation report to see if there are any options there at all. Now, what I'm about to say is what I see and what are the possibilities. Now, you don't have to agree with me, but it is so hard when you are missing particular evidence to support something that looks suspicious. So let's go to the lock report. Now, at 12:17, the door was swiped by the cleaner. In actual fact, she done it twice. So Paddock was not the only one who swiped twice. Now, while she is in there cleaning, she closes the door at 1:41. So she actually leaves the door open for 1 hour and 24 minutes. That's the irony. That is the time that Stephen Paddock was missing. What a coincidence. That is to the minute how long Stephen Paddock was missing from the lift at 15:38 to 17:02. But guys, don't get excited. The times are different. Remember, the cleaner is in there at 12:17. Anyway, some 36 minutes later at 2:18, the utility guy turns up and works in the room for 17 minutes with the door open. Well, nothing suspicious there. At 3:06, the same cleaner comes back and closes the door. This, I think, is just to inspect the room after the utility guy has finished. Now, this interests me very much. As you can see, there are 7 entries for 3:56. 4 are stating 1 or more events are lost. As you can see, the door was open from the inside and a deadbolt was released. This means handle down first, which automatically releases the deadbolt, and then the door is closed. Now this means that someone was in that room 1 hour and 6 minutes before Stephen Paddock swiped the room at 5:02. So what is missing is the swiping of the door. That would have told us who entered the room. This is then followed by the entries that the door is open, then the door is closed, and then the engaging of the deadbolt. Whoever went in, they must have engaged the deadbolt for it to be released later. So, I thought, what are the possibilities? A cleaner. My first thought was, why would a cleaner enter the room and then engage the deadbolt? My second thought was the cleaner was there at 3:06 after the utility man, so it'd already been cleaned. So no, I don't think it's a cleaner. Number 2, a utility man. Again, why would he engage the deadbolt after he entered the room? This wasn't done previously. If it was a utility person, then you would expect the cleaner to inspect and clean if necessary after him before the next guest arrives. Again, this was done previously. Number 3, could this be a late checkout? Well, my question first of all was that a cleaner has not gone into the room to inspect and clean if necessary after the late checkout would have left. Can you imagine if it was a late checkout and the cleaner didn't go in? That could mean that the bed was not made, rubbish in the room, and the bathroom was in a total mess. So no, guys, I do not think it is a late checkout. Number 4, could this be a security or maintenance? Now this is a possibility that security swiped the door, opened, then closed, and engaged the deadbolt, and pulled the handle disengaging the deadbolt. then finally closing the door, all in within a minute. But why would they be checking this? Now, A, it is not normal procedure. B, they never done that on 134. C, that would mean all doors in the hotel should be checked. If there was a faulty lock, it would show up on the report and a hot SOS would have been produced and work would have been carried out. So all of that in 1 minute? No, that's not for me. So number 5, could it be Stephen Paddock? Now on face value, yes, it makes sense. Look at the positives, that it was Stephen Paddock. The check-in at the Mandalay Bay is at 3 p.m. That fits into the picture at the VIP check-in at 14:53. 7 minutes early, but we all do that, don't we? The deadbolt being thrown. That makes sense, as he did pull the deadbolt when he first arrived in the room, albeit 31 minutes later after the official swipe of 5:02. Then I thought, are there any issues that would pop up against Stephen Paddock? And yes, they are. The door is possibly swiped at 15:56. Now remember, we got lost data of 4 entries, which would be swipe door, door open, door closed, and finally deadbolt. That is the 4 entries. Now it is very unlikely that this was before 15:56 because the lost data would have showed up with a different time. In addition, I find it hard that there would be a network problem without some alarm being triggered. If there was an issue with the network, I would fully expect that someone would ping from the server to the door lock and it would show up on the report. Now I'll explain more about pinging in the next video. Another problem, if it is Stephen Paddock. Stephen Paddock was in the lift at 15:38. That is missing time now of Stephen Paddock of 18 minutes. There is no way that it took him 18 minutes from the centre core to 135. Now one more negative point against Stephen Paddock, and I'm sure that the LVMPD would have checked the elevator footage at 15:38 to see where he came out, and indeed if it was the 32nd floor. Then they could have checked the elevator footage to see when Stephen Paddock returned to the elevator to go to meet the bellman eventually at 16:56. But no, we have nothing in the FIT report to state that. And a simple question would be, why would they leave that out? So no, guys, I do not think it was Stephen Paddock. We have still 2 questions. If it was Stephen Paddock, where is the 18 minutes from the lift to 135? And again, if it was not Stephen Paddock, where on earth is he going for 1 hour and 24 minutes? Number 6. Now, this is a tinfoil hat stuff. This is what I deem as an unknown person. In a private video, I showed why I thought that someone was monitoring Stephen Paddock's movements. This type of thought is brought about simply because we are lacking the evidence. I would love to see the elevator footage of what floor Stephen Paddock got out at 15:38. I would love to see the elevator footage at 15:56 to see whoever closed the doors of 135 and get into the elevator. And yes, okay, they could have used the stairs. If so, for me, that would raise further questions. Now, guys, if you have an innocent view, if you think you know, please leave a comment below. I would be very interested. Guys, it's not about creating a conspiracy theory. It's about trying to work out what we see with the lack of the evidence. Now, in reference to my last video, the shopkeeper, Joanna, and the lock report. Now, Wappy had made a video and pointed out in reference to validity of witness testimony. And to some extent, I do agree with him, but not 100%. But this is why we're still on the case. Firstly, we are trying to find the other 2 witnesses that Joanne spoke of that said to her that they also seen Stephen Paddock early on that Sunday night. But no, guys, the law enforcement did not follow this up. But we are. Now, secondly, it is about the SQL database that stores the information from the doors. We need to see the raw data files to confirm 3 things. Has someone gone into the SQL database and tampered with the files? If so, then there is a major problem. Would it show that no one tampered with the files? Again, this would be a major problem. Think about it. Lastly, MGM has heavily invested in a system that is so unreliable that it drops off data. For example, The deadbolt is released when the deadbolt was not even engaged. Or, like I showed earlier, it's losing data. Again, guys, this is a major problem. Now, I'm only pointing out, as I said, what I see, and I'm asking those questions. Someone needs to subpoena the law enforcement for a copy of the SQL database and the raw information that was held from the Monday to the Sunday. Who knows? Those wheels may already be in operation. Well, guys, I'm hoping to get out maybe another 2 videos before my holiday. One of them will be about the lock interrogation report and why do I believe that there is circumstantial evidence that he was actually being monitored. The other one is what I called Paddock, the magician, because he was in 2 places at once. So anyway, like I said, I'll try and get those out before my holiday. Thanks for watching this video, and until the next time, take care.